Alright, so I have an article from the New York Post that puts in more information on how the border problem is turning out. Check it out. Latin America's anti-Yank forces had hoped to feast on a migration caravans damage to America, but it looks like Mexico is ending up paying the price. Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who will be inaugurated, which was today, is being the biggest loser of all. There's no doubt the vast majority of the 10,000 strong caravan participants are fleeing real terror of some kind. Back home, extreme poverty, crime, and poor governance make life in the Central American home countries utterly unbearable. Yet the caravans were organized by cynical forces more interested in their own agendas than alleviating migrants' pain. In Honduras, where the first caravan originated, the organizers included loyalists of Manuel Zelaya, a one-time Cuban allied and Venezuelan-financed president, ousted after attempting to remain in power beyond his constitution-mandated term limit. Since then, Zelaya has been on a campaign to further destabilize Honduras while traveling around the region's socialist-leaning strongholds. The migrants' first trek from Honduras in early September was followed by 3 other caravans from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Some migrants are now at the U.S. border. Organizers in Central America told participants that according to UN rules, the United States must take them in. Some told Ana Quintana of the Heritage Foundation, who has traveled with the would-be migrants through Mexico, that the UN will be there at the border to sign them in, she says. That, of course, didn't happen. No flower-bearing UN official was on hand when the migrants reached America's doorstep. President Trump, who has made immigration one of his top political issues, ordered the border shut. Thousands of would-be immigrants to the United States remain on the Mexican side of the border. Meanwhile, Joseph Hummery, an independent counterterrorism specialist who embedded himself in the caravans, positively identified a tiny minority of criminals, as well as men from Asia, Africa, and the Mideast who joined in. If these troublemakers feel cornered, he says, they could become much more violent than they've been so far. It's the wounded dog syndrome, he says. Once injured, he becomes more dangerous. But for now, the migration hot potato is in the hands of AMLO, as the new Mexican president is mostly known by. That's probably not what the anti-Yanks wanted or expected. How will AMLO handle this crisis? A former mayor of Mexico City, AMLO ran for the presidency as a radical leftist twice before, finally winning in last summer. A rabble-rouser by nature, this time he steered to the center and ran as an anti-corruption reformist. Has he truly moderated? Members of his party, Morena, still express admiration for Cuba's revolutionary model. Fidel Castro was a supporter throughout AMLO's career, and his heirs in Havana, as well as communist allies around Latin America, see his victory as a decades-old dream come true. But again, AMLO's inauguration is marred by the border crisis. Indeed, Mexicans are already blaming him for colluding with Trump, who understandably is widely despised in a country the American president constantly and needlessly disparages. No one believes AMLO when he denies striking a secret agreement with Washington to keep the caravan on the Mexico side of the border. But while Mexicans mostly sympathize with Central Americans who want to go to the U.S., they have begun to sour on the crowded makeshift tent camps set up for them in Tijuana and other border towns. AMLO can demagogue his way out of this, rallying against Trump's cruelty and opting for a major confrontation with America. His red campaneros and pro-Mexican diehards across the region would cheer. But what about international investors who would flee Mexico at the first sign that AMLO is back to his old radical self? There's another way. Vice President Mike Pence, he attempted, and Secretary Mike Pompeo was there, will meet Mexico's new foreign minister Monday to negotiate a solution to border chaos. So this right here, we're getting to it. They're gonna fix this border policy. They're gonna somehow negotiate with Mexico how to fix this border crisis, because it's not just the president. Although right now, as we're seeing it, it's a pretty big deal because we're talking about thousands and thousands of migrants who could potentially be terrorists and rapists and just people that aren't educated or aren't worthy enough. We'll just put it like that. So they're working out something. We gotta wait. Mexico's president has finally been officially named president. So now is just all a matter of time. Okay. Um, if AMLO signals that he is willing to work with the U.S. to resolve this and other border issues, he may suffer a bit at home, but in the long run, he will emerge as a responsible leader. Thank you. Exactly. The region's left, meanwhile, is in retreat to top powerhouses. Argentina and Brazil have voted out long entrenched socialist leaders. Now AMLO, a career red banner waver, will lead Mexico, but he'll start out with a crisis that could mar his 6 years in power, or force him to America's arms. Either way, the left loses an episode its card-carrying members thought would be a winner. So, in a quick analysis of this article, it's saying that now that Mexico's president AMLO, the new president AMLO is taking office, he is going to be able to resolve this in matters that these other presidents haven't, and he's going to be negotiating in ways that he could probably either help himself in the long run, or just the problem can be too severe, or other problems can pop up, and well, obviously things can run out of hand, and he's going to have to basically sell out to the Americans, which is better than selling out to other countries like China, or you know what I'm saying. Like as long as the United States has a responsible leader, I'm pretty sure Mexico would count on America more than any other country. They've had their differences, but more than all that, forget the history. We need to move on with the present and future, and whatever good this Mexican president can deliver. Well, the American people are now responsible in having an idea of what this president could do good to both countries. You know what I mean? All right, guys.